Like, breaking the fourth wall within the first 10 seconds of this video. Currently, while I'm recording this, it is almost 10:30 at night. I've been putting off recording this since I got home from work, and I'm going back to work tomorrow. We are back in bed, baby. Call this pillow talk. Don't do that. Actually, don't. Hi, my name's Lo. If you have never been here before, this here being my YouTube channel, I'm an artist. Taking a heavy breath. I am an artist and I do these videos called Sketchbook and Yap, where I put footage of me drawing on screen, like the artistic version of a Subway Surfer video, and then I talk. And what I talk about, that's between me and whatever god you believe in. First bullet point on the list is I have in fact hit 10k on YouTube. That is 4 times the population of the town I'm from, which really does put it into perspective. I think when you hit one thing about hitting like certain numbers, when you hit them slow enough, it like builds gradually. I am not, hey, anytime you get a large amount of attention very quickly that you're not used to, horrifying. So like people who go viral, I understand why they like lose their mind. But since I've been working and like making YouTube videos for quite a while, and I've been like slowly and steadily growing, 10k doesn't feel like a very large number to me on like the same scale, because like it's not that long ago. Like it was 9k and then it was 8 and then it was 7. Like it's been a couple of years. Am I grateful? Yes. I am going to now kiss my microphone. And you can pretend that in a hey, don't be parasocial with it, that I am giving you a little smooch on the forehead. Okay, here we go. Yep, that was just as weird as I imagined it to be. Okay, so next thing is, as I talked about in my February vlog, I saw the Wuthering Heights movie. What I didn't mention in the February vlog about that experience was the man, or like, I know he's like technically a man because he was the same age as me, but like this dude, a man is not the correct word, a dude or a guy, that is more correct. My friend and I, we showed up at the movie theater very early because we had to go to the bathroom. So we were there like 40 minutes before the movie started. So we were like the first ones into the theater, and my friend, I think what happened was my friend decided to go to the bathroom again. Like, we went to the bathroom, 40 minutes passed, and she's like, hey, nature's calling. I don't even think she had anything to drink. But, you know, I know that she probably, much like me, had a parent that went, have you remembered to go to the bathroom about 300 times before anything where you were like locked in a certain place? I remember driving to like the family like celebrations, a 3-hour drive. You would have thought that like bathrooms cease to exist at the moment. Like there's no way we could even just stop at a gas station. Anyways, I walk into the theater alone. There's no one else there, and I find my seat and I sit down, and I'm gonna be honest, I was being a little bit cheeky with it, perhaps choosing the seat that I chose because I thought that there was a lesser chance of someone else sitting next to me if I had that seat compared to the other one. I was like, hey, if you decide to go to the bathroom right now, you have to deal with the consequences, which is having the seat that is like statistically more likely to have someone sit next to you. Well, oh my god, never hand me responsibility of calculating anything, because you know what happens? A guy comes and sits down in the one seat next to me, which, okay, because it's me and like maybe 3 other people further back in this theater and this guy. There are so many seats in this room. I don't know. I don't know this probability of him sitting right there, like having ordered that. It was just weird. And I was already kind of like, oh my god, okay, this is funny. I was like already like, this is weird. This is funny. I was like in my head, like I was like, no, YouTube, they're gonna eat this story up. Well, dear listener, you're gonna love this even more because he has a backpack with him, and he pulls out a headset and a book. Now, I know you were about to watch a 2026 adaptation of Wuthering Heights as a lone man, so like obviously we're set like there's a certain character to you, but like the pulling out of the headphones and the book, which to me looked like a history book. Like I wasn't paying a lot of attention because we were sitting right next to I couldn't really do much without him being able to notice it. But it looked like he pulled out a history book because it looked like it had pictures of like the fucking like Industrial Revolution in it. So he puts his headphones on and he starts reading this book. And I'm like, this is... what is happening? We are in a movie theater. And my friend shows up. We start gabbing like we do, waiting for the movie to start. And then the movie starts and like 10 minutes in, he moves. I guess he realized that there were other free seats, like non-occupied seats around that he would rather sit in. But I think about that guy regularly now. I'm like, what was that? Moving on to, because like a lot of people around me are having kids, and not necessarily people in like my friend group, like no one like close to me in like a friendship manner are having kids. However, it feels like every single person I work with is having a kid. The production manager for the show that I work on, she got pregnant about 2 years ago, and she went on maternity leave, I think like May, like May, perhaps April, somewhere like in the spring. And then the next season she's still on maternity leave for like the first month. She's still on maternity leave, and then she comes back, and then she gets pregnant again, and she goes on maternity leave again. So this season, I show up to work. Now, when she was on maternity leave, a different production manager came in, and this production manager came in again to step in again. This time she's pregnant, so she has to go on maternity leave. So we need a third production manager to come in to fill the gap. Well, guess what? She's also pregnant and going on maternity. We had this third production manager for 2.5 weeks, and then she went on maternity leave. And now my production manager is coming back in like 3 weeks. What I am trying to get to is I am hearing a lot of talk about children's names, and I'm thinking a lot about children's names. Now, I am a woman, and I have a list. Hey, I know I said never let me like do like statistical probability about anything, but I think at least 40% of people above the age of like 17 have a list with baby names. Are they planning on having babies? That's not important. That's not part of this conversation at all, actually. Sometimes I do think people should have a trusted adult approve of their like name choice. I am turning into an old person. I am turning into some like, because in my head I'm like, what's so wrong with just like the name like Ida? Like, why do we and I don't necessarily have anything against unique names. My name is so neutral. That is one of the things that my mum did right, was make sure that I had a like, you can't bully that name. It's just boring, which is great. And like, maybe because I'm so far on the other side, like most of the names on my baby names list are like the top ones. Hey, I happen to like the name Olivia. I think it's a nice name. Now, if I had a baby right now and named her Olivia, there would maybe be 300 other girls named Olivia in my kid's class. But like, she wouldn't get bullied like if I named her Prudence. My grandparents' names were Kåre Arthur and Hjørdis Judithe, which I know to the people who don't speak Norwegian, they don't hear like the insanity of especially my grandmother's name. What is becoming popular is like, because like certain older names are coming back. Now, there are certain older names that I don't think. My grandma's name was Hjørdis, which I don't think is ever making a comeback in any form other than like people who like to name their pets human names. Hey, like a Great Dane named Hjørdis. Hey, I might get a dog just to do that. Just to name my dog after my grandma. And another thing is like, I like looking up names. Now, I know what my name means. I don't think my parents did not think about that, but it's interesting to like kind of look up names and you find out, you know, where they're from. French, Hebrew, stuff like that. And a lot of the time I'll find out that certain names are biblical names. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Because this feels like the Tiffany problem. And if you're like, what is the Tiffany problem? Oh boy. I am about to learn you. I'm about to learn you? I'm about to teach you something. Like certain names that are biblical. Like I can hear a name or see a name and I'm like, yeah, that's a religious one. Like the name Isaiah or Abraham. That is very obvious. Like biblical names. But Jacob? Like I know. Like I know because I almost said I know the characters of the Bible. I like know about Jacob from the Bible, but like Jacob is just some dude who plays like basketball. Jacob is not a biblical name in my head. The names Esther and Mary, obviously biblical. Delilah lives in New York City. And her boyfriend is 1,000 miles away tonight, but she looks so pretty. And the stars can't shine as bright as she does. Now, the thing with the Tiffany problem. Do you want to guess when the name Tiffany is from? And like the way I'm saying it, you're going to be like, this is going to be ridiculous. Yeah, Tiffany. Hey, there was a Tiffany in the 1600s. There was a Tiffany. There was a Tiffany at some point who didn't know what a light bulb was. There was a Tiffany who died from the bubonic plague. The Tiffany problem is, I'm saying this with a lot of certainty. I should not be this confident, but it's the name Tiffany is technically historically correct. But like, it's kind of like, hey, were you aware that Charlie Chaplin and Pharrell were alive at the same time? I'd equate that kind of to the Tiffany problem. Like, oh no, those two timelines don't work out. Like, a Tiffany from, 1873 feels wrong, even though, like, historically it's correct. If you put a Tiffany in your book set in, like, the colonies, like the first colonies in the United States, you can't have a Tiffany. Find something else. Now, the final bullet point is my beef with a Sunday start calendar. Not necessarily with a Sunday start calendar, though I do think that they are ridiculous. But like, okay, I'll let you have your Sunday start calendar. But I have so much beef with people saying that like the Monday start is the weird one. I was watching this vlogger that I follow, and he got this giant calendar for his wall, and he's like, yeah, and it's a Monday start. I wish they had a normal calendar. a normal calendar. Excuse me. It's a 50-50 split and all of Europe uses a Monday start. Even if we were like, oh, well, it's a personal preference. No. I'll let you have your Sunday start calendar, okay? I am I am for a democracy. However, we will not dilute ourselves into thinking that Sunday is not part of the weekend. Because if I met you on a random Wednesday afternoon and I asked you, do you have any plans for the weekend? You might tell me what you're doing after work on Friday, and you'd tell me about your plans for Saturday, and you'd tell me about your plans for Sunday. For the weekend. The week end. I will let you have your Sunday start calendar, but do not try to get cute with me. Okay, I will create a TED Talk. Okay, and with that threatening note, we are moving over to audience participation. Now, audience participation is the part of this. I hesitate to call it a podcast, but like it's basically a fucking podcast at this point. It's part of the video where I ask you for topics or questions. Now, they can be stuff like, how do you feel about like I don't know, the State of the Union address? Hated it, by the way. It can be art related stuff, you know, about favorite mediums. Do you have any recommendations for watercolor? Or they can be questions that have absolutely no relevance. Later, I will be discussing lasagna in like great detail, so stay tuned. We are starting off with comments from the YouTube community post. Someone asked when I first picked up a sketchbook and what I would say have helped me level up the most as an artist. Now, technically, I mean, if we want to be like annoying with it, I'm sure I had like a sketchbook before I had a consciousness, because like you just kind of give a kid like a sketching pad and a pencil and you like entertain yourself, so that I can like sit down for a little bit. But the first time I got like a proper sketchbook, I started like oh my god, I can't believe I started thinking about the idea of getting a sketchbook as if I'm talking about like some really, really important choices in my life. I started buying books to draw in, specifically calling them like sketchbooks, when I was 17, 18. And it was really hard for me because the reason I wanted these was because I started watching sketchbook tours and stuff like that. So I wanted this perfect, amazing sketchbook, having no idea what that meant. Like, I would plan things out on Post-it notes, but the first sketchbook that I bought, that I, like, used to its, like, end, that I filled, I was 18 when I bought the sketchbook. I wish I could give you some, like, real good advice, but, like, unfortunately, it is just putting in practice. Fuck. Oh my god, can you imagine if I talked about, like, oh yeah, you need to, like, sacrifice a chicken to this specific, like, Viking god, and you'll get artistic talent in return. No. Hey, everyone's right, and it sucks, but, like, putting in practice is unfortunately the thing that works out the best. If you want any, like, specific, the thing is, like, it always depends a lot on, like, what your struggles are, what you're good at, what your focus is, or, like, the way you want. Like, me giving advice as a predominantly traditional artist, like, I do use digital art, but I prefer the way traditional looks. If you want to become a comic book artist, getting advice from me might not help you the same way as, like, going to, Fran Meneses, who's working on currently a graphic novel. So, like, it's hard. I mean, I'm really glad that I started learning color mixing, like working with primary colors. That's neat. I do suggest doing that. Other than that, I don't know. I mean, you could try the chicken thing. Someone asked if I'd been to university and what my major was. I went to university. I have a degree in television directing, specifically one-camera productions, which is things like documentaries, reality shows. In general, like, multiple camera productions are things that are, like, done in a studio at once. Like, productions where you need multiple cameras running at once, often done, like, live or in one take. Like, you don't do many retakes. Like, you do retakes of certain things, but, like, you know, if you like watching America's Got Talent, that's a multiple camera show. Keeping Up with the Kardashians, that's a one camera show. That's my degree. And the final question was, do you have any favorite mediums to work with? Currently, I'm on a charcoal kick isn't the right word, but I am enjoying using charcoal for specifically figure studies. I'm also still liking acrylic paint. Still not. I don't know when or if I will ever be like a big fan of gouache and watercolor. Like, I can enjoy the way they look for other people, but I like the viscosity and like opaqueness and the feeling of acrylic paint. The only thing I don't like is how quickly it dries. Like, and like maybe the fact that it like sticks to itself to some degree. I have bought oil paint that I bought for Christmas. Haven't used like water soluble oil paints. Maybe one day. Hey, maybe in 3 years I'll pick up my oil paints and figure out how that works, because I've painted with oil paint once, hated it. I will say that I did that without any preparation. Like, no, I didn't look. Could have looked up a Skillshare class at least on like how to use oil paints. No, I will just do stuff, decide that I hate it, and then I will later like try it again after taking like a single minuscule piece of advice from a professional. I'm like, oh, this is not as bad as I thought. It's part of my charm. I think you guys like that about me. We are then moving over to questions from my Instagram story. Someone asked who my favorite woman in fiction is. Now, do I love the March Sisters from Little Women on a deep level because they reflect struggles of women from the 1800s that are still relevant today, and also show the deep and relatable inner workings of a family who are unique with their own values and goals? Of course I do. But it would also be a lot funnier if my answer was Isabella Swan from Twilight, who manages to fall in love with not one, but arguably two mythical creatures, almost gets herself killed several times, gets pregnant, and basically stops a vampire civil war. All of this happens in the span of under 2 years. And all of this, while this is happening, she's being weird and shy and like painfully, like awkwardly normal. She's like a fan fiction character. I love that. Next question. How do you organize your art supplies? I mean, the quick version is bad. It's a mess currently. I need to reorganize it. They are in drawers. My thought when I put my art supplies in my desk was they are easily available. I have learned that like much like a toddler, I need to be able to see stuff to remember that it exists. So I am planning on putting it in the cart that I have, that you might have seen in videos of mine, and just switch other stuff into the drawers. However, and then I have other, because everything's like kind of scattered around the room. I also have a like shelf with supplies that I don't use as much. I have a giant toiletry bag full of pens and things that I never use except like when I'm getting desperate. My top drawer on my desk is my most used everyday stuff. So that's like main pencil case and Tombow markers, because I use those things in my planner. Then I have other pens and pencils in another drawer, one drawer for my primary acrylic paints and palettes and towels. I have markers just like fucking everywhere, divided over like pouches and a box. Then I have another basket in another part of the room with other acrylic paints. And my paintbrushes, for some reason, are in a drawer in a separate piece of furniture from the main supplies that are in my desk. Does this make sense to any of you guys? And to round off this sketchbook in the app, we have the question of all questions, the lasagna question. If you have two lasagnas and you stack them on top of each other, is it still two or one big one? That is a silly question. That is one big one. No, it's past the proximity rules. Portions are made up, okay? A skyscraper and a 3-story apartment building are both buildings. The one doesn't become more or less of a building just because it has more floors. Lasagna is just pasta, sauce, and cheese. They have to be separate for them to count separately. 2 different dishes. Like, if you have 2 lasagnas and you just place them right next to each other, congratulations. That's not one really long lasagna. There has to be a separation. There has to be... You have to separate church and state, and you have to separate your lasagnas if you want them to count as different lasagnas. I put a lot of thought into it. Like, that one might have been my favorite question of the day, the lasagna one, because I feel that I am so right in that answer. I won't hear it. You know what? I'll sneak in my little lasagna rant at the end of my Monday start calendar TED Talk. How do we feel about that? Thank you for hanging out with me. I will talk to you later. Anyways, that was everything. Bye.